av Nya Zeelands honorärkonsul i Sverige, Anna Belfrage, som dessutom råkar vara styrelseledamot i Svenska i världen. Varmt välkommen!
Kära svenskar i världen, tack för möjligheten att få vara här och informera lite grann om vad Nya Zeeland har gjort på området. För att även om Nya Zeeland kanske ligger på andra sidan jordklotet så har vi fler gemensamma nämnare än man kan tänka sig. Och därför också mycket, tror jag, att lära av varandra. Till ytan är kanske Nya Zeeland lite mindre, befolkning på 4,5 miljoner. Men skärgården är norra delen av Nordön påminner väldigt mycket om Stockholms skärgård. Och södra delen av Sydön så tror man sig förflytta till de norska fjordarna med bra skidåkning och så vidare. Wellington, som en liten kuriosa, är världens sydligaste huvudstad. Nya Zeeland var också först i världen att ge kvinnor rösträtt redan 1893. Och de la tidigt grunden för en välfärdsstat. Utbildningsnivån mellan de båda länderna är ungefär samma sak gäller förväntad livslängd. Sveriges BNP per capita är marginellt högre. Och man arbetar också väldigt medvetet på ett gott internationellt rykte. Och det är ett av världens minst korrumperade länder. Ett nyzeeländskt pass välkomnas i över 170 länder utan visum. Jag vet faktiskt inte vad den siffran är för ett svenskt pass, men det är i alla fall väldigt högt. Därför tror jag faktiskt att det är väldigt intressant att titta på några av de förändringar som man har gjort på passidan det senaste året. Lite kanske också vad det gäller ekonomin som kabinettssekreteraren refererade till. Man gjorde för ett par år sedan i Nya Zeeland en väldigt strategisk genomgång med hela utlandsförvaltningen. Där man bestämde, okej, vi är ett litet land, vi bor långt borta. Var bör vi ha en ambassad? Och var bör det istället vara ett konsulat? Representerat av en honorärkonsul som jag då har förmånen att vara. Nya Zeeland stängde sin ambassad i Sverige för 3 år sedan. Och det var en del av den här genomgången. Så det är 2 saker som jag tänkte prata om. Det ena är då det här att söka pass elektroniskt. Och där tog man en lagändring 2012. Det var Department of Internal Affairs. Där man sa att alla vuxna över 16 år kan förnya sitt pass elektroniskt under vissa förutsättningar. Och det är också att man ska kunna ladda upp, eller ladda ner kanske man snarare säger, ett passfotografi elektroniskt. Men för att kunna göra det här och göra det säkert så tog både Nya Zeelands regering och posten, New Zealand Post, ett beslut om att forma någonting som heter Real Me Profile. Och det kan då alla nya zeeländare gå in och man registrerar sig och gör detta. Sen kan man via en Google Authentication App eller via ett textmeddelande auktorisera det här så att man vet säkert vem som är vem. Och man gjorde det både för att underlätta passhanteringen, men posten gjorde det för att kunna göra det lättare med elektronisk handel och att köpa saker säkert online. Så det fanns flera anledningar till att göra det. Naturligtvis är det då också fortfarande möjligt att söka pass traditionellt sett och så vidare. Och de som inte kan söka elektroniskt är bland annat de som söker pass för första gången. De som har ändrat sitt namn sedan förra gången. Om ens pass har blivit stulet eller gått förlorat, då kan man inte heller söka det elektroniskt. Om man har ett diplomatpass kan man inte heller göra det. Och om ett pass, ens gamla pass var issued alltså innan 1992. Men nu har det har alltså varit i effekt kan man säga i 2 år, och det har blivit så framgångsrikt att 40% av alla nyzeeländare, inte bara de bosatta utanför landet, 40% av alla vuxna nyzeeländare ansöker nu och förnyar sitt pass online. Och därför ska man vidga det så att redan till nästa år så ska det kunna gälla för familjer. Då kan det också inkludera barn och liksom familjegrupper. Så det är då en aspekt av det här vad det gäller de elektroniska, att söka passet elektroniskt. Så att om man ska göra det till exempel hard copy, det finns bara en ambassad i Europa, det är den i London, som kan utfärda ett pass. Men man kan också skicka papper med posten härifrån till London, få sitt pass eller skicka via kurir, alltså DHL eller liknande, så att man måste signera för det naturligtvis när man får det. Så den möjligheten finns också, så det behöver ju inte bara vara online, där man kan göra det liksom pappersmässigt men ungefär lika enkelt. Det är det ena. Det andra är ett lagförslag som trädde i kraft i maj i år, och där man sa att från och med nu då blir det 1 januari eller slutet av året, så ändrar man från ett 5-årspass till ett 10-årspass. Och anledningen till det är också ett strategiskt beslut, för att man ville dels göra det enklare, dels göra det billigare för den som söker passet, för att det kostar nog lite mer för 10-årspass, men besparingen är ungefär räknat i euro 60 euro för individen vad det gäller hanteringen. Men en annan intressant aspekt tycker jag också, och det var ett medvetet val, det var att man såg att flera nyzeeländare som bodde utanför Nya Zeeland och hade 2 pass började välja att inte förnya sitt pass. För att det var tidigare för krångligt, för besvärligt och så vidare. Så att det finns den aspekten också i det, som jag tycker faktiskt är ganska intressant att tänka på det. Och sen ligger någonstans under det hela en ideologi att man ska kunna sköta så mycket som möjligt igen elektroniskt, så att man har att regeringen har för avsikt att innan 2017 så ska 70% av alla hanteringar med regeringen, om det gäller birth certificates eller liksom formulär eller vad som helst, allt det ska ske elektroniskt. Och igen, ingen skillnad om du bor på Nya Zeeland eller om du är en Nya Zeelandare som bor någon annanstans. Tack så mycket.
För de fransmän som bor utanför landets gränser. Och hur det där fungerar ska vi nu få en presentation av den franska ambassadens konsul Amandine Leban. Välkommen, Janelin.
I had a presentation of the Thank you. I'm sorry I won't be able to speak in Swedish. My Swedish isn't good enough yet, so I'll speak in English. I've been the consul at the French embassy for a year now, and it was my first job at an embassy, so it's a bit new for me. But today I will present you with the political representation of French citizens that are living abroad. So it's a bit of a complex system, so I'll present you a broad view of the system and the main points, so that it's clear and you have a general understanding of our system. So that's our current system. We have 3 levels of political representation of the French citizens that are living abroad. We have a local level, a central level, and a national level. At the local level, we have consular councillors. There are 450 of them in the whole world, and they are elected for 6 years. In Sweden, for instance, we have 3 councillors that are representing the French expats here in Sweden. Basically, they have an advisory role. They get at the embassy and sit with us to talk about the problems of the French community that lives here. And they have a role of helping us to take decisions regarding scholarships, for instance, at the French school. But mainly it's to get feedback from them, to have a better understanding of the issues that would face the French citizens that live here. Then there's a central level. It's also a general representation of the French citizens that live all over the world. They assemble in the French Living Abroad Assembly, AFE, and there are 90 councillors. This central level is also an advisory role. It advises the government and the lawmakers about issues that are facing the expats all over the world. They meet twice a year in Paris, and there is a board that stays in Paris the whole year and that has an intermediary role. They answer questions of the councillors and stuff like that. So it's basically stays in Paris, but the councillors are all over the world. And then there's the national level. So it's the usual National Assembly and Senate. We have 11 MPs representing the French expats at the National Assembly, and they are elected for 5 years. And in the Senate, we have 12 senators representing the French living abroad, and they are elected for 6 years. So they have the usual role of the National Assembly and the Senate. They pass laws. So that's a system that's quite new. Some of them was created a long time ago. The senators were created first, as senators for the French expats. It's a provision of the Constitution of 1958, so it's a long time ago, but it was the only representation of the French living abroad. It was the senators. Then in 1982, an assembly was created. You can see the AFE was created in 1982 and then modified in 2004. Then in 2008, a constitutional act introduced MPs representing the French expats at the National Assembly. And the system came together in 2013 when there was a law reforming the representation of the French citizens abroad. And they created the consular councillors, so the local level was created in 2013. It modified also this law, the AFE and the senators, in order to get a better coherence of the system. So that you can see. So the goals of these reforms and these laws was obviously to have a better political representation of all the French citizens, even those that are living abroad. It was also to develop a democracy that was closer to the French citizens where they were. That's why the local level was created, because it didn't exist, and the representatives were a bit far from the French expats. Also, at the Senate election, the aim was to have a better representativity of the voters. The people who vote for the Senate, the pool of voters was expanded by this 2013. And finally, the goal of the reform of 2013 was to correct demographic gaps that appeared between the different voting districts, because obviously it was an older system and the French living abroad changed. I mean, the communities from all over the world changed, so it was to improve all the consistency of the system and the general coherence of the system. So for the voting procedures, we have two kinds. Direct votes for the councillors and the MPs, and indirect votes for the IFE and the senators. We'll get into a bit more details for each of them. So for the councillors, who can vote? Can vote all the citizens that are registered at the embassy as voting abroad. It's a choice. People can choose to be registered at the embassy as living abroad, but they can choose not to vote abroad. They can choose to vote in France, where they were registered before. They can also choose to vote in France for all the national elections, such as for the president or the National Assembly, but they can choose then to vote abroad only for the local elections of the councillors. So really there are a lot of situations, because you have people who are registered and who don't vote at all abroad, people who vote abroad for some of the elections and in France for others, and also you have people who vote for all elections abroad. The votes for the councillors can be in person at the embassy or wherever we opened voting bureaus, or the vote can be electronic also. That's quite a new provision, because it doesn't exist for French citizens living in France, the electronic vote. The IFE, so as I said earlier, the vote is indirect, so that means that not all the citizens elect the councillors at IFE. It's the councillors who themselves vote for IFE. So it's an indirect system, and they can vote in two ways, either in person at the embassy, or, no, not at the embassy, at the French representation of IFE in Paris, or by giving the ballot to the embassy. So basically it's a week or 2 weeks before the vote. They come to the embassy, give us the ballot, and then we send them by diplomatic mail to France, where they are gathered and put into the voting system on the day of the election. The MPs. So it's the same system as for the councillors. That means that it's a direct vote, and all citizens that are registered at the embassy as voting for that election abroad can vote. They can vote in 3 ways, either in person, either by electronic device, or by mail. It's a possibility that exists only for that election. Voting by mail. It doesn't exist for the others. And finally, for the senators, the councillors, the members of IFE, the MPs, and the senators themselves can vote for senators representing French citizens living abroad. And just as for IFE, those can vote either in person or by giving the ballot to the embassy. So it's the same system. Basically, we just send it back to France and they get registered there. So, our experience of this system is that indeed the representatives are closer to the French citizens living abroad. The voting districts, as I said, were changed, so it brought the representatives closer. But the problem we noticed is that the representatives still are mainly located in capitals or major cities where we have embassies and consulates. So citizens living far from those capitals or major cities are still a bit far from the representatives. Though with the modern means of email and Skype, they use Skype also, so it eases the way. Second point is that the turnout to vote increased, but it's still quite low. The election that gets the most votes is still the presidential election, but the new system allowed to have more voters compared to before, when there was a decrease, so it slowed the decrease. For instance, in 2014, the first consulars were elected. In the whole world, the voters were 16.6% voting. So that's not much. But what can be noticed is that French citizens living here in Sweden vote globally more than the rest of the world. They were almost 20% voting for that election. And we can observe the same rates for all the other elections. For instance, for the MPs, the rate globally was 20.6%, and in Sweden, 30% voted for that election. So that's a good point for our French living in Sweden. But what I wanted to say that the system is still quite new, so we are still waiting for data on how the system really works and what are the problems and what can be improved. As I said, the reform was from 2013. The MPs were first elected in 2012 and the consulars in 2014. So it was just a year in, basically, in the new system. So we are still looking at what is going on. But what we can already say is that the system might slightly evolve to correct some points that were noticed through a year or two of experience. First, we noticed that we need more training for the newly elected consulars, for them to understand their role and what they can do and how their position can be regarding the embassy and the citizens and all the system. And also an adjustment in the financial compensation system, because they are not paid per se, but they have expenses to go meet all the citizens in the country and to go to France to vote and to the assemblies. So there is a provision for financial compensation, but it has to be developed to really give them the means to really improve in their role and to do what they were elected to do. So that's one point. And the other point is that electronic voting might be developed, because we noticed that most of the voters use electronic voting when it is available. 70% in both elections where electronic voting is possible. 70% of the votes were done electronically. So that's really the future, even though we don't know if it will increase a lot the participation of the voters. But given the choice, it's really interesting for the people who don't have to go to the embassy or some place that can be far to vote. So that's it. Thank you.
Dear audience, kära damer och herrar. Jag heter Anneli Adel och jag jobbar på Estlands ambassad som konsul. Jag har jobbat i Sverige för ett år och detta är min andra post som konsul utomlands. Och idag ska jag presentera ett estniskt system av internetröstning när det gäller municipala och parlamentära val. Men eftersom mitt svenska är inte så flytande ännu, fortsätter jag på engelska. So, I'm very proud to present you the internet voting system in Estonia, which I personally have used already 6 times starting from 2009. Estonia is the first country in the world to introduce the nationwide internet voting, also called i-voting or online voting. First time i-voting was used 10 years ago in 2005 during local government elections, which are in Estonia held separately from parliamentary or European Parliament elections. And since 2005, the i-voting during different elections has been carried out 8 times with binding results. And as you see from the table, the amount of eligible persons that have prepared to use the i-voting has increased in 10 years. The most visible results you can see from the parliamentary elections. In 2007, 5.5% of all participating voters gave altogether 30,243 i-votes. And this year, 2015, the percentage was already 30.5. And altogether 176,329 i-votes. And moreover, what is interesting that in 2007 the i-votes that were casted it was done in 51 different countries outside Estonia, and in 2015 in 116 different countries. And this curve for sure indicates that the popularity of the method is quite high among the voters. Okay, now I will say a couple of words about the key facts about this internet voting. This internet or i-voting is an additional possibility to vote. And it doesn't replace the traditional methods of voting. The i-voting's idea is to give the voter a flexibility to vote from the location of their choice, home, office, also time frame somehow, and the country, without the need to go to the polling station during the specific election day. And i-voting, it means voting via internet, not at the polling station, and also not using an electronic voting machine, like, for example, is used in some other countries like Belgium and some other. And i-voting is as secure as regular ballot voting or internet banking. I'm sure all of you know what is internet banking, and if you just doing transactions during the via internet banking, then the i-voting is the same. And the system is built up like that the voters' choice remains secret. And the recording of the vote in the list of the voters in the polling district, it prevents also voting more than once. And also a specific electronic voting committee established to conduct the i-voting. Also independent observers have been auditing the i-voting process. And it is also possible with a specific application to control if your vote has reached the voting server correctly, which also shows that the credibility of the system. And I-voting takes place during advance polls, 7 days from 10th to 4th day before the election day. This is necessary in order to ensure that there would be time to eliminate possible double votes by the end of the election day. And identification for giving an I-vote is done with the government-issued ID cards, which we use also as identification for internet banking or other e-services in Estonia. Now shortly about the concept. The concept of the I-voting has grown out from the traditional method of voting outside the polling district, from so-called double envelope system, that the vote is anonymous vote is in the inner envelope, and then it is put into the outer envelope with information about the voter, and after checking the eligibility of the voter, the inner vote is put to the ballot box. And the system of two envelopes ensures that it is possible to cast only once, and that the information who has voted for whom is anonymous and secret. And now about the main principles of I-voting. It is possible to vote during 7 days, 24 hours, and I-voting ends 4th day before the election day in order to facilitate the markings into the voters list to eliminate double votes. During the I-voting period, it is possible to re-vote by I-voting again, and the latest I-vote counts. And also, if the I-voter decides to go physically to the polling station, it is possible during advance polls. And then the vote is on paper ballot. And in this case, the I-vote will be cancelled as well. And after that, it is not possible to vote again, not by I-voting or using a paper ballot. And on election day, it is not possible to change the I-vote. If you have decided to I-vote, then you cannot do it on election day again. And I-voting follows the same rules as regular voting. It means election acts, general principles. It is uniform and secret. Only eligible voters may vote. Everyone has only one vote, and it is not possible to prove the way the voter has voted. Now it's very long text, but maybe I will go into the details, since in the end we will watch a short video clip which explains it very well. But the main thing that you need for I-voting is you have a computer, you have a secure internet connection, then you need to have this ID card reader, something like that, and the government issued ID card, like that. Then you connect everything together. You put the ID card inside the reader to the computer, and then you open the web page for voting. You verify yourself using PIN codes. You have like PIN 1 and PIN 2. And then you make your voting decision according to the electoral district. And then when you have voted, this first vote, it will go to the inner anonymous envelope, which is encrypted. And then you confirm it once more with a digital signature. And then it goes to the other envelope, and so-called in internet, so you don't see it, but you will see from the movie or this clip in a moment. And at the vote count, the voter's digital signature is removed, and at the final stage, the members of the National Electoral Committee open the anonymous I-votes and count them. Okay. And now very shortly what we in Estonia think what are the advantages of I-voting and what lessons we have learned during those 8 binding I-voting sessions we have had. First of all, it is like additional method and it's very convenient, improves voting activity and keeps existing voters keen to vote again and brings younger people to vote. And also it is creating an essential convenience in an information society. It creates like another e-service in Estonia. And the lessons that have been learned during those 8 times, that it attracts also people to use other electronic public services. Of course, that trust is crucial, that really people have to trust that your vote goes directly to this candidate you have voted for and you can trust it. And of course, very important is that the whole country is using this electronic authentication system. And since Estonia is quite small country, it is a bit easier, I guess. And also that the government supports it, like our government, they have all gone over to e-government system. And also for the last, that it is safe and it is as normal as internet banking. Like if you do internet banking, then you cannot really think that voting is something more difficult or not so trustful. And for more information, there is a website of National Electoral Committee. And I don't know, outside you have a table. I will put also some info materials on the table.